why you can't keep your boundaries. Boundaries is a word that is becoming ever more popular, which I have to admit I'm pretty pumped about. And yet, this whole idea of setting boundaries can bring up so much resistance, so much discomfort for so many of you. So let's talk about why this might be happening. I like to think about life without boundaries almost as like you're not living your own life, because you're really not, right? You're letting the needs or desires of other people guide how you decide, how you discern, how you spend your time, energy, so on and so forth. And that can bring up a lot of icky stickiness over time. So let's unpack it together. If you're not already, make sure that you subscribe to this channel where we talk about tangible, realistic, and approachable tips and tools to support you with your mental health, your relationship with yourself, and the life that you're creating. I'm Chelsea, certified life coach, former therapist. I have a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling, and I have seen time and again how our inability to set and maintain boundaries leads to suffering, pain, negative emotional state, and honestly, unhealthy relationships. So, to say this is an important conversation kind of would be an understatement. So, why is this whole boundaries thing so hard in the first place? Well, let me ask you something. How do you feel about the idea of someone thinking that you are selfish? Might bring up a lot of emotional feelings, right? And we are taught many times that the way that we are valued, that we are worthy, that we get to be a good person is by giving all of the time and making sure that the people around us are happy all of the time at whatever cost, no matter what that means for you or your own sense of well-being. And I'm starting to see this conversation shift and start to change, right? Where we're now hearing broad stroke statements like, make sure that you're taking care of yourself, right? Or practice self-care. But then sometimes when we actually need to or decide to do that, we're met with resistance, or maybe people who really benefited from us not having boundaries or not taking care of ourselves are upset when we start to. And so then we decide to go backwards and we question ourselves and we're like, oh, wait, is this really okay that I just said no to that social gathering that I'm like not down for, I have no energy for? Is it okay that I'm spending time by myself for a moment to actually breathe and hear myself think? Shouldn't I want to be with people all of the time? What is wrong with me? Right? And then we create all of this internal dialogue. And that's one way that keeping and having boundaries can feel really hard. Another way is that we assume that people should just know. We don't want to have to explain ourselves. We don't want to have a potentially hard or uncomfortable conversation. We don't want to have to disappoint somebody and then deal with that icky stuff, right? Because what does that then mean about me as a person if I've disappointed somebody or if my needs have inconvenienced someone else in some way? I can't do that, right? So then I assume that they must know what I need. And when they don't, I get resentful. Right? Does this sound familiar at all? Have you ever been there? So I want you to pause for a minute and I want you to really think about, are there any people or areas of your life where you could use some more clear boundaries? And just drop a yes in the comments below if this resonates with you. So all of this to say, if this feels really hard for you to share about your needs, to tell somebody no, to set a loving boundary about how much you have to give versus what you don't, please know that you're not alone and it's not your fault, right? It's not your fault. There's so much conditioning, especially as women, that tells us that we need to constantly be available, that we need to always prioritize other people, like we've talked about. So I want to offer a quick shift for you. And the shift that I share with all of my clients is to reframe how you view or think about boundaries. And my offering for you is to start to see boundaries as teaching people how to love you. Setting boundaries is teaching people how to love you, right? Because when we go back to that feeling of resentment or that feeling of guilt, I want you to think about how that impacts a relationship of any kind, be it romantic, be it with friends, be it professionally or at work. If you're constantly overgiving and overextending yourself and you're starting to grow resentment for this thing or this person or this way of being that's not working for you, how is that going to impact the level of connection that you feel with that person? And also, are they actually getting to know the real you and what works for you and what doesn't work for you? Probably not. Probably not. So there's a way to communicate boundaries that can feel inviting, that can feel more compassionate, that can feel more understanding. And I want you to think about if you were someone in your world, in your sphere, who started to lovingly own your own boundaries, taking some hard self-responsibility here, and start being more honest and more transparent and more communicative about your needs, about what works for you and about what doesn't. What I often see happen for a lot of my clients in their worlds is then, yes, it might be jarring, it might be a little bit unsettling at first, and then people start to recognize, oh, Chelsea's showing up in her power, and she just showed me that it's possible to say no when someone asks you something that you don't want to give. And she confidently was able to stand there and communicate that that didn't work for her. Maybe I could do that too. Right? So oftentimes when we give ourselves permission to do something, we can also give that to the other people around us. So I want you to think about how cool would it be if you in your world started this domino effect of people standing in their power, cultivating more genuine relationships that weren't based on this people-pleasy, over-giving, not really getting to connect or know each other, perpetuating cycles that don't actually fulfill us. You can start that. And while there may be people who don't see it that way, of course, there absolutely will be. And there might be people who don't get it or don't want it. But I want you to think about the types of people that you want in your world. How do they feel about you protecting your needs, your time, your energy, your values? Do you want to invite in people who don't appreciate that of you? Are those the people that you want in your circle? And I know that might be a hard question to sit with, but it's an important one. So all of this to be said is that boundaries can be absolutely very challenging, super nuanced. The way in which we communicate them is going to look different given different scenarios, different experiences, different relationships, and it's going to take some time and practice for you to learn a way of communicating that feels okay for you in your heart and in your soul, but it is so important. So when you feel that discomfort, when you feel that resistance, when you don't want to talk about how you're really feeling, how can you support yourself in coming back to this idea that setting boundaries, communicating, is teaching the people around you how to best love you, and then you get to do that for them as well, and you get to model healthy communication and healthy behavior, both in how you care for yourself and the relationships that you hold around you. Sounds pretty important, yeah? And because I know how sticky and nuanced boundaries can be, learning how to communicate with other people can be, learning how to deal with the discomfort when maybe it doesn't always go so well can be, it is a big part of the work that I do, and it is absolutely integrated into all of the programs that I have created. So if you're ready to dabble in this a little bit more and you know that you're needing some clearer boundaries in your life, but it feels hard to know where to start, I want to invite you to sign up for my free workshop that I have linked below 4 steps to develop more self-confidence and self-trust, where I really walk you through what some of the key pillars, including boundaries, to living a life that feels more empowered, where you know how to navigate those emotional ups and downs, to even understand when and where you might need to set boundaries. Definitely check out that free workshop. And if you know you're ready to take it to the next step and you're wanting to feel more fully supported around your mental health and emotional well-being and developing a really beautiful and nourishing relationship with yourself, I want to invite you to book a connection call, which is also linked below, so that we can chat and find a path forward that might feel the best for you. So with all of that, if you liked this video, please actually like it with that button. Make sure that you're subscribed. And if there's anyone that you think would benefit from this being shared with, that would be amazing. All right, I'll chat with you soon.